4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Tuesday, June 25th, 2019 meeting of the Longmeadow School Committee. This meeting will be recorded, aired live on LCTV. The live streaming is unavailable tonight on longmeadow.org, but the entire meeting will be up on longmeadow.org tomorrow. It is a legal requirement that anyone recording the meeting disclose that they are doing so now. Seeing none, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is correspondence.
An emailed letter from Ms. Kristen Seeley dated June 4, 2019 regarding digital media usage and training for children.
Great. We have minutes to approve.
I move that the school committee approve the minutes to the June 13th, 2019 school committee meeting as presented.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for vote. All in favor? 5. Any visitor comments? Any school committee announcements or recognitions? Business with guests? Okay. Administrative reports. Dr. O'Shea.
So you have a written report, covers a few items. We had our administrative retreat this past Thursday and Friday, 2 uninterrupted days. Gave us a chance to chat about our leadership styles, review our progress against the district improvement plan. We also took a dive into the concept of deeper learning, which coincidentally I shared with you today a report from the Commissioner of Education who has made that part of his path forward for the Department of Education. So deeper learning, the notion that it's important for students to be authentically engaged in their learning and have opportunities to produce, create, and demonstrate their learning in real-life situations. So we spent a lot of time talking about that and how we could possibly bring that type of approach or build on that here in Longmeadow. So I think you're going to hear more about that either here in Longmeadow Public Schools or it appears at the state level because Commissioner Riley appears to be interested in introducing that to a greater extent at the state level, which is encouraging because it really allows us to step away from sort of test-driven instruction. So I think we're all excited about that. I had a chance today to meet with Bernie Lynch, who represents Community Paradigm, and that's the entity that's conducting the screening and search for a new town manager. And in fact, I left his business card for Chairman Ray, and he said that if any member of the committee is interested in chatting with him, he would make himself available. The select board on July 1st will finalize its decision on the composition of a screening committee, and it's possible that they may invite school department representation. So that's something that we ought to consider, and I'm happy to play whatever part the school committee deems to be appropriate, if that makes sense.
Just before we go to that. So I did get a message, an email from Marie Angelides, the new chair of the select board, asking if we wanted to put forward a name from our board to be on the search committee or the interview committee or whatever it is. So if anybody's interested, just send me an email, and then I can forward the name on. I don't think anybody is I think we're all okay with if we pick one person to go, correct? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. All right.
Yeah. Summer work, a lot happening on the curriculum side and the facility side. We've got over 50 summer curriculum writing projects going on. So, and it's nice to see that they're very neatly tied to school and district goals. I give you a sampling of some of the activities that we're undertaking this summer. And then Nick Gigantis, our facilities director, who's here with us tonight, has been working with Tom and the principals to identify summer projects, everything ranging from the pool resurfacing to duct cleaning to floor refinishing to addressing the flooding in the science rooms at the high school and carpet replacements, unit maintenance, so a lot happening. And so Nick is juggling a lot of projects as well. And one of the things that we're always certain of is to see that life safety systems are inspected and recertified before the start of school, so we'll keep you posted on that. And then, kind of on a related note, if any, I'm going to ask Diane to work with me on trying to identify some dates and times for committee members to tour the schools over the summer, if that is of interest. I know sometimes it's hard to pull together and match up everybody's schedules, but we'll take a shot at that. And then, a lot happening. I also had a chance today I was invited to take part on a hate crimes task force, and actually Chairman Ray had forwarded me the email on that. And it was put on by the Jewish Federation, and District Attorney Gallooni was represented, police chiefs from the area were represented, about 4 or 5 school districts were represented. Really a lot of good people coming together to think about how we can collectively kind of introduce anti-bias training and anti-bias approaches at the school level and at the community level. So we'll keep you posted on that. That was just an organizational meeting today, but it seems that it'll gather some momentum, and we'll keep you posted. So that's all I got.
Any questions for Dr. O'Shea?
It's not a question, but I have a comment. I appreciated the documents that were sent along with the retreat. I was reading some of them, and I took the leadership survey thing.
Oh, yeah.
I found it very interesting, so
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a lot of fun with that.
We did, yeah. It was. It's interesting, and one of the takeaways is that we all have different leadership styles, and how can those leadership styles mesh? How can we support each other, and how can our different approaches complement and supplement each other's work? So it was fun to go through that exercise. Yeah.
Anybody else? Awesome. No chair report, no student report, LPVEC?
There's a meeting tomorrow evening for both boards, the final meeting of the year.
Anything else for you? No. Okay. Subcommittee reports, finance sub?
Sure. So the first item on tonight's agenda is an update on the FY 19 end-of-year request. So about a week ago or so, a week and a half ago, the town approached the school department and asked for consideration in regards to 2 projects that we have that they don't have the funds to support. And so finance, with Nick in attendance last week, did review the request. One was for $50,000 for the fire alarm system at Center School, and the other is $48,000 to replace the switchgear at Glenbrook, which is related to the outage we had earlier this school year, where we were without power for a few hours in the morning. So Nick is here to speak in more detail in regards to them, or answer any questions you guys might have. That was the first item that finance sub took up.
Good.
So on Monday, March 11th, we had the outage in the morning, started approximately 4 a.m. at Glenbrook. And when we tried to isolate the building from the street power, throwing the switchgear was not an option. It failed. So when we actually hit the switch to turn off the power to the entire building, the building would still remain live, and we had to actually go to the sub panel to shut everything down. It is a safety concern because that is a last resort to turn off the power to the building. Say something burning on fire electrically, we would then go to that switchgear to isolate the building. So we definitely recommend replacing. As far as the money for the school alarm, they estimated when we had a study done of the fire system, $215K to $295K. What was put up at capital was $225,000. We're asking for the 50 to get us through design. Design fees were a little bit more than what was anticipated, and the tight time frame that we have to actually get the project done this summer, we could use some padding with the numbers to help make it more palatable to companies that bid on the project.
Okay. We have a motion on FY19 end-of-year fund request, top of page 2.
I move that the school committee authorize the use of FY19 end-of-year funds in the amount of $98,000 for the 2 building maintenance projects as presented.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion, second. Debate?
I just,
Yeah.
I just have a question about the discrepancy between, because one says, you said 48,000, this says 42,000.
The transfer
Yes.
should have been, it's 48,000.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 42 at the subcommittee
Yeah.
meeting, but we
We revised
figured
it.
out that it needed to be 48
48.
for, I'm forgetting why though.
42 was for the actual equipment, then there's 2,500, I believe, to shut the power
Yep.
off from the electric company. There's 3,000, I think, from potential asbestos.
Yep, so
Testing,
testing for
potential
asbestos,
abatement.
yep, abatement.
So the initial 42 did not include that additional $6,000.
Can you remind everyone where the money is coming from?
Yeah, so later on your agenda, there is a FY19 year-to-date budget report. So in that document, which was also provided to Finance Sub, is my attempt to project where we will finish the fiscal year out. I believe the bottom line for our general fund balance would be about $102,000. Any money left over in the general fund at the end of the fiscal year that's not spent out has to get turned back to the town. So either way, if we don't use the money as requested by the town, the money will get turned back to the town and potentially, depending upon how much they have, could end up into operational stabilization or in free cash, which would get addressed at the fall town meeting.
So by doing this, we're giving back the town money, but we're spending it on the schools?
We're using it,
Sort of.
yes, for building-related necessities, I would say.
And we are taking care of stuff that's urgent, like you're saying, a switch, not being able to shut off top power to a building's a pretty serious thing. And the other project is,
Yeah,
well,
the other project's been in the works for a couple of years.
I
and
can
most-
tell you, living across the street from Center School, the alarm project is long and needed. I mean,
Yeah.
that thing used to go off at least once a week, and the police and fire were there every week to shut off a faulty alarm.
I also just want to clarify that the previous transfers that were made to, and the costs that we were planning to spend on security cameras and things like that, this is in addition to that.
Yeah, so
correct?
the projection that you have, the
Right.
end-of-year report, so
Mhm.
thank you for asking that question,
Yes.
does take into account that the funds that you guys authorized a few meetings ago
Right.
are spent out. So
Excellent.
this would be funds that would be available above and beyond.
Above and beyond that.
In full disclosure, I expect this number to move also.
Right,
It's,
understood.
we still have about, even though June 30th is right around the corner, it'll be sometime in mid to late July when we
Right.
officially close the
Close
books.
it, folks, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Brownlee?
And as Armin said, he could, living near Center School, he was able to hear the alarm, and I know that, as Mr. Mazza said, it's been in the works for quite a while, so it's definitely something that we see as a priority, and hoping it can get done as soon as possible. I know it's a tight squeeze with the design taking a lot longer than anticipated, but hopefully that additional money will help get the project moving along. And I know it's out of your hands, but it's definitely super important to
Yeah.
get that done.
Definitely help.
Any further debate? Seeing none, a call for a vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Tom, FY19 year-to-date budget report?
So we just sort of went through that, but I'm happy to answer any more. I included it because I wanted you to have a sense of where we are when considering the request. So that was specifically why I did an updated report and presented it to Finance Sub and had it included in tonight's packet. So I'm happy to answer any questions now or in the future that you may have about it. We will come back through Finance Sub at some point, either later this summer or early school year, to vote on whatever turnback ends up coming up through the general fund once everything is finished being
Okay.
processed.
So then I'll change that. You have all of the special revenues in front of you. Does anybody have any questions about the year-to-date budget report or the revolving report?
Norman, I could just add, once again, my projection, there will be some additional transfers, especially with any open encumbrances that we have as of June 30th. That may affect where, what our final balance ends up being in any one of these specific accounts.
Yep. Okay. So then we'll move to the budget transfers. Finance Hub discussed these. We have 2 recommended motions.
I move on the recommendation of the Finance Subcommittee that the school committee approve the budget revision as outlined in the document titled FY19 Grants and Special Revenues Amendment Number 4 dated June 18th, 2019.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Is there any discussion? Just a question, that is 48 grants. We do have to say as amended.
That'll be in the next one. Is it?
Are we on 4?
We're doing the grants and special revenues, which is just
Yeah.
Oh, we're not doing the general budget. Sorry, Tom, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, that will have to be.
Okay. Then seeing the discussion, call for vote. All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, we have another motion?
Before you read it, it should be number 4, also dated June 18th.
Not,
Not
March
the March,
26th.
no, that one was the previous one, but I would also add, we want to say as
As
revised or
amended.
amended, yes, thank you.
I move on the recommendation of the Finance Subcommittee that the school committee approve the budget transfer as outlined in the document titled FY19 General Fund Budget Transfer Number 3 dated June 18th, 2019, as amended.
Number 4, sorry.
Number 4,
Yep.
sorry.
Thank you.
Number
Yeah, it was
4.
wrong, yeah. Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Seeing none, call for vote, all in favor? Okay. Thanks, Nick.
Nick.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great night.
Hey, Nick, could we ask Nick a question before he leaves up?
By
Because
all
it's in
means.
here, you're in your report, you reported on the.
Facilities, summer work?
First one.
The damage to the high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What's our, how are we looking for opening day or?
So right now, the struggle is finding replacement cabinetry.
Okay.
And we have tasked vendors to match it up best as they can. The vendor that originally installed the cabinetry is no longer in business. So that's the only holdup right now. We've all dried out, cleaning it up, and, go ahead.
If I may add, those stations they were made to order for this building. They're not, they're not custom, they're custom, so
Right.
you're gonna have to be made to spec, which may take even longer. So we are concerned that room 106 may not be downstairs, the one that received the most damage, may not be done in time for the opening of school.
Did we have to replace all the cabinetry in 206 as well, or no?
No,
Not as bad.
Okay.
just one section.
Okay.
Yep. The other 3 rooms that were affected will be operational.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
No problem, my pleasure.
Thanks, Nick.
Great night.
And congrats on being an uncle, right? Alright.
So we do have one more item from Finance Sub, the enrollment update. It's on the page before the 6th grade.
Are you leaving that in, or I thought we were pulling it?
I don't,
We can make it informational
Yeah, I
or
think we were
whatever,
just gonna
however you
talk
want to
about it.
approach it. So you have 2 documents, one that shows the grade 6 historic enrollment at both Glenbrook and Williams, just to give you some context for the class sizes that we're projecting for the coming year. Right now, we have 6 sections scheduled at Williams, and that's a larger cohort of students, 124 students. We have 5 sections scheduled at Glenbrook. It's a smaller cohort at 118 students. So the overall class size at Glenbrook, it's really within what we have seen historically, but there is a difference between the Williams class size and Glenbrook, looking at 20 or 21 at Williams and 23 or 24 at Glenbrook. So it's something that we want to continue to keep our eyes on. If we see any shifts, we might be in a position where we would bring a recommendation to add a section at Glenbrook. Or you may feel that we're already there, but this is really some information for you to help us track this.
I know the item was about sixth grade, but you also have a discrepancy too between Blueberry Hill and Center.
At kindergarten specifically?
Yes, for the kindergarten.
Yeah, the Blueberry Hill kindergarten enrollment came in lower than anticipated.
Right.
So we expect that there'll be some movement over the summer that will bring it closer, perhaps, but right now, we're in a favorable position at all three schools, I suppose.
Yeah.
But in terms of there is we're looking at 17 or 18 students in center kindergarten classrooms, 14 or 15 in the Blueberry
And
kindergarten
Coastal.
classrooms. So,
Similar in first grade with Whole Swamp and.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's something to, look at across all those three areas in general, and just keep our eyes on.
Yeah. When you get into, three sections, sometimes the difference, it's tougher to keep that equity across all three schools. But we're in really great shape, K-5 overall at all of our schools. I think, these are numbers that really work well for teaching and learning. But the Blueberry K is lower than anticipated. We expected it to be a small cohort based on the census data, and it looks like it's going to rebound again next year, but you never can quite tell with absolute certainty on these. Yeah.
Any questions or further discussion?
In finance sub, we obviously talked about the sixth grade in particular, and I think, as you were just saying, that waiting and keeping our eye on it was kind of our consensus. And being only three of us, we wanted the whole committee to see this without a recommendation from us, just so everybody could have the information before any sort of decision got made. So, as a teacher, I wouldn't see 23 as being something that would give me a heart attack, but if that goes up by a bunch more kids and the difference becomes bigger, then that's when we would probably have to look at adding a teacher. Which we may have more information by the
Mid-July.
next full meeting, which would be mid-July, so maybe there'll be more information by then.
Yeah, I agree.
Houses on the market.
The only thing I'd be concerned with is I would expect to get feedback on this. Because adding one more teacher there makes it 19.6 versus 20.6 or 20.7. So just as a board, be prepared for people to ask that question of why we're not adding that extra teacher right now, as opposed to getting more parity between the two schools. So yes.
I agree with that. Also, we have to keep in mind that we could have, if we do another section with Glenbrook, we could have kids move into Williams, and then the discrepancy goes the other way.
Understood.
And next thing you know, we're talking about, it's never going to be perfect, obviously. But if it got too high, that we discussed at Finance Sub, that we would definitely want to look at an additional.
And I think that, to me, I like the recommendation of waiting till mid-July and making that call then. I know it's not, I know it's not ideal, people want to know, but at the same time, a lot of people are in the midst of moving. I've got a few people on my street moving right now, so you don't know what will happen.
No, I totally agree with you, and I think it's the right move, especially that we have our meeting in mid-July coming up. I just forewarning everybody to be prepared to have those conversations and give the reasons and say that we've taken a hard look with the finance subcommittee as well, because yeah, I'm sure somebody will get a question.
Yeah.
Great. Policy sub?
So you had, there were some policies that were approved for public reading, and we received no public comment. The 30-day period has come and gone, so those policies are, we're able to vote on those now. JICA, student dress code, and BDH, the subcommittees of the school committee.
There are 2 recommended motions.
I move on the recommendation of the policy subcommittee that the school committee approve policy JICA, student dress code, as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for vote. All in favor? Here's another motion.
I move on the recommendation of the policy subcommittee that the school committee approve policy BDH, subcommittees of the school committee as presented.
Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor? Oh, wait. Sorry.
Sorry.
Should be BDE. Is that what you were about to say? I just noticed that. BDE,
BD.
yeah. Subcommittees of the school committee.
As amended?
Should I read it again?
Say as amended.
As amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, call for vote. All in favor? Okay. Number 10, we do not have any ongoing business. Number 11, we do have new business. In your packets is the MASC, which is the Mass Association of School Committee, Mass Association of School Superintendent Joint Conference. The early registration is ongoing. School committee can discuss interest in attending this year. We do have money set aside in the budget for the conference. I would encourage anybody who wants to go to let Diane know. She will sign everybody up. The packets are in there showing the dates available. I've been in the past. The accommodations are Spartan, but passable. Well, let's just say that. It's an off-season resort down the Cape. It's good to meet with the other, I think, Western Mass school committee members, just to discuss ideas and to learn the involvement there is. I think that was the best thing I got out of it a long time ago, and I'm looking forward to probably being there on Thursday and half a day Friday probably. So you don't have to go for the whole thing. You can pick and choose what works for your schedule. Just let Diane know and she'll sign you up. Please let Diane know before July 15th so that we get the low cost. Any questions?
I'd also say I went last year for the first time. I thought it was great. The sessions were very informative. Couple run by people right out of the DESE offices, which are obviously doubly informative for me in my current role, so I thought that was very valuable. So I would definitely plan to go again.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, so
Yeah.
Each time slot had just a ton of great speakers, and impossible to get to all of them, in one year, so I look forward to going this year as well.
All right, there is an executive session planned for this meeting. Do I have a motion?
I move that the school committee meet in executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 2, to conduct a strategy session in preparation with non-union personnel, the superintendent. Purpose 3, to conduct a strategy session in preparation for potential litigation. And Purpose 7, consideration of release of executive session minutes from previous meetings, not reconvene into open session.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? This requires roll call. John?
Aye.
Bronwyn?
Aye.
Armin, aye. Ryan?
Aye.
Susan?
Aye.
We are now in executive session. Thank you all for tuning in. Our next meeting will be our meeting on July 15th? 16th? 16th. This Tuesday night in July. We're on a summer schedule, so there's only going to be one meeting, one scheduled meeting in July. We will always meet as needed to take care of the business of the district, and then return to our regular schedule in August. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight, and good night.